Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is the Reluctant Gringo back again with another video. I've made it no secret that I love horror movies, maybe even more than any other form of entertainment that I consume. I've also made no secret that my favorite horror icon is the hockey mask maniac himself, Jason Voorhees. With October fast approaching and a true Friday the 13th coming up as well, Mexico has already started preparing for the Day of the Dead celebrations, and some of you are already putting out Halloween decorations in the States. I'm going to begin to lean into the horror genre a little bit more each week until Fright Night, and what better way to do that than to give you my top 10 list ranking of the Friday the 13th franchise. But before we begin, a couple of words of caution. This is my list, this is my opinion, and as always, I value yours, so leave it in the comments or get me on social media. Second, I will not be including Freddy vs. Jason or the 2009 Michael Bay produced remake. I love both of those movies, but I wanted to keep it purely to the original bloodline of Friday the 13th this first go around. With that, let's begin. Number 10, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. This is, for me, the worst of the franchise. There are many reasons for this, most notably, the MPAA cut this thing to pieces in order to give it a rating that would get it released. Second, Dollar Store Carrie. Played by Law Park Lincoln, and her whole backstory with her father and the doctor was just awful. It was ill-conceived and poorly executed. I did not care for her or the other characters in this movie except for Jason. He was the one bright spot. Kane Hodder's portrayal of Jason and the makeup effects that went with this movie were great. Other than that, this is one Friday I usually gloss over. Number 9. Friday the 13th, Part 3. I know, I'm gonna get some shit for this, but Gringo, this is the one where he gets his hockey mask. I know. But other than that, this movie does not deliver on very much. I don't care about the cast. I think the biker gang is cringe even by 1982 standards. The final girl, Chris, and her whole backstory about surviving a Jason attack by just blacking out is just mind-numbingly stupid, and the 3D is as gimmicky as Jaws. Why it's not at number 10? Simple. Richard Brooker. He portrayed a great, terrifying Jason. He was a true menace physically. He had great kills, and we can't forget about that kick-ass disco version of the opening theme song. Number 8, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Yes, a lot of you would have put this at the bottom of the list, but hear me out first. Yes, the special effects were bad. The story about only a Voorhees killing a Voorhees, and Jason having extended family, and Jason being some sort of demonic entity was out of left field, and it does not gel with the rest of the source material. The acting, terrible. I actually wanted Jason to kill final girl Jessica, because whether on purpose or not, she's just a terrible person throughout the whole story. However, with that said, the kills are great. The attempts at being meta is applaudable, and the riskiness of taking the story into something new and different kept me interested throughout, even if Jason has only about 5 minutes of screen time. And oh yeah, one last thing, that teaser of an ending that would only come true a decade later. Number 7, Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Just listen before you all get upset. Yes, this movie does not deliver on its promise. Jason is in New York for about a hot minute. The rest of the movie is on a boat. Rennie, played by Jensen Daggett, is the final girl, maybe the worst of the franchise. In general, this is the film that, quote, killed the franchise. However, this movie is fucking hilarious. Approach it from that standpoint, and you'll see the value in it. Besides, where else can you see Jason drown a man in toxic sludge, uppercut a guy's head clean off his shoulders, and kick over a punk's radio just because he can? Part 8, that's where. My son and I watched this movie one afternoon because we were homebound. It was his first time seeing it. He laughed his ass off, and so did I at his commentary. So there you go. Jason Takes Manhattan really does have redeeming qualities. Number 6, Jason X. I love effort, and this movie has it. One of the lowest budgeted movies in the franchise for its time, this movie tried to give us something theater-worthy with a PBS payroll. What we got was pure B-movie gold. The opening with Jason in captivity is brilliant. The special effects are so bad, they actually add to the overall aesthetic of the film. Whoever was lighting the movie must have been someone off the street, but we got what we all wanted: Jason in space killing young people. Arguably the best kill in the franchise with the liquid nitrogen, arguably the corniest and most powerful iteration of Jason as Uber Jason, and a film, however bad it was, still rooted in the tenets of the Friday franchise that helped most fans wipe away the stains of Part 8 years before. For these reasons alone, Jason X gets the number 6 spot. Number 5, Friday the 13th. That's right, for me, the original, so dear to my heart, does not rank above the 5 spot. It is basic, it is simple, it is one of the original slasher films of the early 80s, it has Kevin Bacon, it has some cool kills, but what it does not have is Jason. Pamela Voorhees will always be the mother of all mothers. Well, maybe except for Mrs. Bates, but that's another list. She will always be the original killer in the franchise, but she will never be her son. Therefore, awesome slasher flick, a great starting point for anyone wanting to get into vintage 80s horror. I just can't let it outshine my boy too much. Number 4, Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. I'm gonna totally contradict myself here, but here it goes. I realize that this is not Jason killing in this movie, it is Roy. However, he's doing a hell of a cosplay with this role along with the other uncredited actors who played Jason in various scenes. Until the reveal of Roy, the essence of Jason was there. His presence was felt. His memory haunted Tommy Jarvis. The film, which is one of the goriest, most kill-creative, and most explicit in the franchise, was a nightmare to make, and it was a hell of a ride when you consider all these factors, as well as the film continuing the Tommy Jarvis story arc, one of the most important in the franchise. And who doesn't love Reggie the Reckless? This film, despite its reputation, deserves a little more love than it gets from our fans. Number 3, Friday the 13th, Part 2. I've said it once, and I'll say it a million times. Sackhead Jason is awesome. The myth building in this movie for Jason is critical to the series. The idea that he is just some feral man in the woods, killing to survive, and totally out of his mind because he witnessed his mother's beheading is where the franchise really finds its purpose. Featuring the best final girl in the franchise, Ginny, played by Amy Steele, some of the best kills in the franchise, that poor bastard in the wheelchair and Adios Crazy Ralph, and the aforementioned world building of Jason with his history, his shack in the woods, his mother's head on a shrine. The longevity of this franchise owes all of it to Part 2's creative license. Thank you, Sackhead Jason. Number 2, Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter. This film had a lot to deliver on after the ho-hum of Part 3, and it hit on all cylinders. The casting was great, probably the best cast of extras/victims in any of the movies. Crispin Glover's dancing and death are memorable. However, my favorite is when Jason Supermans one of his victims out the second floor window. Gotta respect the style points. Corey Feldman gave us the foundation of a character that would live on as Jason's true foil in the young Tommy Jarvis. Ted White's Jason is overpowering, able to go from terrifying stealth to explosive carnage in a heartbeat. Tom Savini, the original Jason creator in the first film, returned to help kill off his creation, and there are not many people better at practical effects than Tom. The simple setup of 2 houses, never knowing which one Jason is focused on, keeps you filled with anxiety. You actually like these characters and want them to survive. The story is well written and flows smoothly. Jason's death and Tommy's mental breakdown are a perfect ending to Jason's life. So in a way, the title does not lie. This is truly a final chapter for the mortal Jason Voorhees. And coming in at number 1, Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. This just ekes out Part 4 for the top spot. However, this is the Friday where Jason becomes more than just a random slasher. He becomes supernatural. With that, you could take the franchise anywhere. Sometimes you did not want it to go where it went, but this is the Jason that truly terrifies us. He is resurrected, like Frankenstein's monster. He is undead, uncaring, and unstoppable. Part 6, while tame on the explicit sexuality, unlike the previous films, and I'm looking at you, Part 5, had some very creative kills, and let's be honest, made us laugh a time or two. Like Nikki getting face planted. Lisbeth at least having the sense to bring her American Express card with her to the woods. And poor Horshack. And that RV flip with Jason rising out of the fire. Add in a couple of great 80s cheese metal tracks by Alice Cooper that friggin' still rock to this day, and you got a fantastic reboot to the franchise after fans were disappointed after Part 5. The MPAA did cut this one down a bit because of the gruesomeness of Part 5, so we don't get the wide-angle triple beheading. We don't see Roy's death, but figuring they named the character Roy, it must have been something spectacular. Tommy Jarvis, played by Tom Matthews, is a fan favorite. The cast overall is likable, while Final Girl Megan, played by Jennifer Cook, is probably the weakest of the cast. The addition of the kids gives the camp a heightened sense of dread. The inclusion of the cops let us know that this is a Jason that you can't hide from. Unlike the previous installments that kept adult authority figures away to heighten the danger, this one does it better by telling us it doesn't matter anymore. The mythology of Jason has continued to be padded with his ties to Crystal Lake itself, and this is my favorite Jason, played by C.G. Graham. The outfit with the lawn darts, the throwing knives, the machete, the whole outdoor survivalist Jason, I love it. And that's the list. What do you think? If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing for future content. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the season of spooks and ghosts. I am your reluctant Gringo, and from south of the border, until next time, salud and al huevo.